Hello, I'm Francisco Lee, and today we are here again with Zaira, my trusted lawyer, and we're going to talk about how to lawyer your taxes if you have an investment property here in Los Cabos. So Zaira, please give us a little insight of which are the tactics and the tips that you have to give to this type of investors.
Okay, so when you have a property that it's contemplated originally for vacational rentals, long-term rentals, let's talk first of all about vacational rentals. Any short-term rental normally goes through a digital platform.
Yes.
And there's specific tax regulations when it comes to how these platforms collect your taxes as the lender of a property. So what is the best tip that I can provide to you regard of that? Every digital platform in Mexico has a tax advantage just by putting a Mexican tax ID, also known as RFC, in the platform. How can I do this? There's two options. One, to have your own Mexican tax ID, or two, to have a property manager that can list your property on Airbnb, VRBO, Expedia, whichever platform that you decide to work with their own Mexican tax ID.
Okay. So, what is the process to have your own Mexican tax ID?
Okay, it is a process. It's quite a process. Maybe we're going to talk about this in another clip. But the first step for you to have a Mexican tax ID, it's to be a Mexican resident.
Okay.
Being a Mexican resident, it's a process that you can achieve through several routes. A job offer, economic solvency, an investment in Mexico, even having a property in Mexico from a certain value can help you obtain the Mexican residency easier. But why do I need a Mexican residency to have my own tax ID? In Mexico, there's a specific number, code that it's given to the population, CURB by its initial in Spanish, that it's the document or the code that allows you to have a Mexican tax ID and it's linked to it. So you cannot have a Mexican tax ID without having your residence, therefore your CURB, and later on your tax ID.
If you're wondering what are the taxes look like if you're owning a rental property here in Los Cabos or in Todos Santos, and you want to lower that number with a tax ID, we're going to talk about those numbers right now. So Zaira, please give us which is the number that you pay if you don't have a tax ID and how low it can go.
Okay, so normally any digital platform in Mexico is going to collect 20% of any income on capital gains, and 16% of the Mexican sales tax, also known as IVA. So if you don't have any tax ID associated in your platform, that is what you're going to pay, and it's going to be an automatic collection from the platform. What is the advantage that we were talking at the beginning on? How can I lower that number? If you have a Mexican tax ID, either yours or your property manager, those numbers drop in half. Those numbers become 10% for capital gains and 8% for the Mexican sales tax. It is important to mention this has a maximum amount. That is
a top.
It is a top. So that's your definitive payment of taxes as long as you don't receive more than 3 million pesos during the platform. Approximately.
And it's $150,000–160,000 pretty much.
Yeah. So if you want to drop those numbers in half, as long as you have less than 3 million in income, that is your definitive payment. If you have more, well, you're going to have to contact an accountant, as that is going to be a provisional payment, and you might need to present an adjustment on the payment of taxes. But I think it's a great advantage to drop those numbers in half.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you get an idea of what the taxes look like here in Mexico and which are the tactics to lower those numbers. Again, thank you very much, Zaira, for sharing this information, and watch our next episode.